Heading into Week 7, our understanding of usage and deployments are about as good as they're going to get. Today, we are continuing our love-hate series as we look into 3 players I'm trying to start everywhere and 3 players I'm looking to sit. But before we dig in, head over to 4from4.com and use promo code YouTube to get yourself 25% off any subscription plan. Start Hunter Henry. Week 1 of the Drake-based season in New England wasn't exactly an offensive renaissance, but it was enough to breathe a little life into the passing game. Up until the team's last games, they hadn't eclipsed 170 yards in any performance, averaging a lowly 143.6 through the first 5 weeks. May eclipsed that by basically a full 100 yards by going 243, 3, and 2, which allowed his pass catchers to make a splash in fantasy box scores. While Hunter Henry didn't get there on volume with 5 targets, 3 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown, he did find the end zone for the first time this season on a release route from the 6-yard line. It was only the 6th pass from inside the opponent's 10-yard line all season, and Henry's 2nd target in that range. If May will be the tide to lift all boats, we should expect more of those chances moving forward. As an added bonus, the Patriots face off against the Jaguars team that has allowed the most schedule-adjusted fantasy points to opposing squads, while also ranking 29th in tight end adjusted fantasy points allowed. This includes recent stat lines such as Cole Kmet going for 570-2, Mo Alley-Cox going for 237-1, and Dalton Kincaid going for 341-1. Hunter Henry is still available in 72% of Yahoo leagues. Start Christian Watson. Watson has once again missed time with leg injuries in his 3rd professional season, but at least this most recent setback didn't have anything to do with his hamstrings. After missing most of Week 4 and all of Week 5 due to an ankle injury, the wide receiver returned in Week 6 to catch 3 of his 4 targets, including a huge 44-yard touchdown. Said quarterback Jordan Love after the game, quote, "Obviously dealing with the knee, it was a little bit tough for him to get right back into the swing of things, but we know the kind of player he is. We saw it last year as the season progressed. We're going to see it again this year. He is just a dog." Since he called him a dog, we can forgive him for mixing up a knee injury for an ankle injury, but the point remains. The offense knows what they have in Watson. He is a deep ball maven, averaging a 16.6 average depth of target, which happens to be the 7th highest among 104 qualifying receivers. Due to his return from an injury that was thought to be more serious than it ended up being in the typical Packers rotation, Watson rotated quite a bit in Week 6. His 26 route runs ranked 3rd on the team in the easy 34-13 win. There's a chance he begins to see even more usage over the next few weeks. Sadly, it was announced that Dontavian Wick's shoulder injury suffered in the game has him classified as week to week, which should mean that we see a healthy Christian Watson seeing a lot more usage along the perimeter, even if he's just part of a rotation. While it's unlikely that he ends up seeing a target share close to what Jaden Reed has been seeing, Watson profiles as a fantastic option that can offer fantasy teams week-winning performances on just a handful of looks from Jordan Love. He might be a risky start due to his recent ankle and hamstring issues, but the upside here is incredible. He remains a great boom option even if Wicks plays in a limited fashion. Start Javonte Williams. The general ineptness of the Broncos offense has more to do with its skill position players and a rookie quarterback learning the ropes than it has to do with the core of its team, the offensive line. But the running back rotation has a chance to uphold its end of the bargain in Week 7 against the Saints defense that ranks 30th in adjusted line yards, 26th in rushing DVOA, and 28th in schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed. Over the last 3 weeks, the Saints have allowed the Falcons' backfield to accrue 154 total yards, Kareem Hunt to equal 117, and just last week, the Bucs pairing of Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker came 3 yards away from hitting 300. Denver would do well to push the ball behind left tackle Garrett Bowles, who has helped RBs average the 7th highest yards per carry mark and the 4th lowest stuff rate when running to the left side of the line. It might be hard to trust Javonte Williams after his 23-yard, 1 fumble rushing performance in Week 6, but he did just receive a new season high in snap rate while running 24 routes, Jaleel McLaughlin's 8th. He should be considered a low-end RB2 in this matchup. Sit Raheem Mostert. Everyone who pays a modicum of attention to the NFL sphere knows that the Dolphins' offense has been severely lacking since Tua's most recent concussion. Though they squeaked out a 15-10 win over the Patriots as they headed into their bye week, they've averaged exactly 10 points on offense over their last 4 games, while their prized fantasy skill position players have rotted on the vine. But some fantasy managers hanging on to Raheem Mostert might not be particularly worried. After all, Mostert racked up 80 yards on the ground paired with 18 receiving yards to account for 25.3% of the team's total offensive output in that aforementioned Week 5 game. The problem is, fourth-round rookie Jalen Wright accounted for 22.2% of the yardage, and Devon Achane looks to be on track to play in Week 7. While Wright may very well fall back into his 20% snap rate role, a fully healthy Achane makes Mostert expendable in an offense that is barely supporting one or two fantasy pieces. Sadly, we don't have any data with both backs on the field sans Tua in 2024, but we do know that Mostert was outtouched 15-8 in favor of Achane through 3.5 quarters of Week 1. Mostert is an explosive back when he's on the field, but in a three-headed committee with Tyler Huntley at quarterback, he is easily benchable in Week 7. Sit Jerry Jeudy. The loss of Amari Cooper might seem like it helps things on paper. This remains a matchup to target from a defensive perspective, rather than looking for who might fill the veteran's shoes. At 1-5, the Browns are about to embark on an entire tear-down project, and it's time to give a look at some younger pieces of the puzzle, not Jerry Jeudy, who has consistently shown his inconsistency. While Deshaun Watson has been a far cry from an accurate quarterback, his completion percentage on throws deemed on target to Jeudy is only 73.1%, the ninth lowest mark among 57 receivers who've earned at least 20 on-target throws. And the offensive issues run deeper than Jeudy simply not catching passes. Jack Conklin returned to action last week and played well enough at right tackle, but only 3 snaps into the game, the struggling offensive line was hit with yet more bad news. Center Nick Harris, who was receiving his second start of the season, the other one coming at left tackle, went down and was subsequently placed on IR due to an ankle injury. This cleared the way for 2017 UDFA Michael Dunn, who allowed 2 sacks on the day, to move from right guard, and Zach Center, who allowed 1 more sack to regain control of right guard. The musical chairs aspect of the unit is putting Deshaun Watson under duress, and the quarterback is responding in poor fashion. While under pressure, Watson ranks 27th out of 34 qualifying quarterbacks in on-target rate, 30th in adjusted yards per attempt, and 30th in pressure to sack rate. The entire Browns passing attack is an easy fade, and Jerry Jeudy is among them, even though Amari Cooper has left town. Sit Michael Pittman Jr. The only thing that saved Michael Pittman from being in Week 6 version of this video was a sincere doubt that he would be playing last week. Maybe lucky for us, he eventually was cleared and found the end zone, though he added only 25 yards to his 10-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. It would seem as though the Joe Flacco experience is over for now, as Anthony Richardson is on track to return to action in Week 7. Good for the unpredictable nature of what he brings to the Colts offense, but not great for the target shares of our fantasy pieces. In 3 full games with Richardson, the Colts averaged 27.6 dropbacks and 24.3 pass attempts per game. In 2 starts, those numbers jumped to 44.5 dropbacks and 41.5 pass attempts. Very clearly more volume to go around for running backs, tight ends, and obviously wide receivers. While vertical threats like Josh Downs and Alec Pierce, and to an extent rookie Adonai Mitchell, can get there on a nominal amount of targets, Pittman is often deployed as a possession-type receiver. It's hard to find fantasy goodness when the quarterback is prioritizing his legs in those types of situations. While Pittman is certainly not expendable on our fantasy rosters, we need to pick and choose when to play him. Week 7 is not one of those situations in a game that could easily turn into a slog. Miami is a top 5 defense in terms of schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position. Contrarily, the Texans and Vikings, the Colts' next 2 opponents, are in the bottom 6. Better days are ahead.